We hit a witch's cat with our car. Now my roommates are dying one by one. Has anyone ever been in a situation like this before? So anyway, it all started last week. I live with 4 roommates: Morgan, Tessa, Evan, and Ravi. Tessa is the one who I'm pretty sure is dead, even though my housemates all say she's pretending. And at first, I did think she was pretending. It's an old trick of hers. She's super introverted, and sometimes, if she's overwhelmed or just doesn't want to talk, she'll pretend to be asleep. We call it her playing possum, but now she's been playing possum for nearly a week. Her eyes are open, her face is this grayish white and has been turning kind of purplish. Her body is bloating, and I saw a fly land on her eyeball, and I think it laid eggs there. She hasn't changed out of her panda onesie since she started playing possum last Monday. She smells. She smells like a corpse smells, like rotting meat. And that panda onesie, that panda suit is so gross. I'm pretty sure she died in it last Monday and everyone is just in some kind of denial. But does that even make sense? I mean, how is it 3 other people are all saying she's alive and that I'm delusional? Is it just some bizarre social experiment? I keep waiting for some reality TV host to pop out from behind the potted plant and a hidden audience to start laughing or clapping. I feel like I'm coming unglued from reality. I'm sitting on the sofa as I write this, by the way. Sitting here, looking across the TV room at Tessa, who is propped up in the same chair she died in, eyes wide open, flesh bloated, and lips purplish, and skin just... I think she's going to start leaking into that chair. But let me rewind us to last Sunday. Sunday is when we hit the old lady's cat. It wasn't on purpose. We'd all had a bit too much to drink, and I was driving, and Evan was in the passenger seat, and Morgan and Ravi and Tessa were in the back, and the cat, it just freaking raced out into the road, solid black, and then there was a thump. My stomach flipped. And then this old woman came out of her house and saw her cat had been hit and screamed and screamed. Tessa told her she should have kept her cat inside, not let it wander near a busy road. Anyway, long story short, I think that lady was a witch and hexed us for killing her cat. More specifically, I think she hexed Tessa. I don't think. I know. Because the woman said some words in a strange language and we all called her crazy and drove home. So that was Sunday night. Come Monday when I came out for breakfast, I was up early as usual. The only other person out in her chair in the living room was Tessa, bundled up in her panda onesie. I said good morning, but she had a 1,000-yard stare. I figured she just wanted to be left alone and didn't think anything more of it until I got home from work in the afternoon. Tessa was still in the chair. Same exact pose, still in her panda onesie. I asked if she was all right. Ravi was playing a video game, and he answered for her. Said Tessa was sick and had stayed home from classes. I hope you feel better, I told Tessa. She didn't respond. And Tessa? I said. She didn't respond. Hey, Tessa, I said that I hope... Chill, just leave her alone, snapped Ravi, who seemed annoyed because I was interrupting his game. I thought it was weird, but I let it go because he was acting so normal. But at dinner, she was still in her chair in the same pose and hadn't moved. I tried talking to Morgan, who told me, she'll be fine, it's just a cold. This behavior went on for days, and just any time I tried to ask any of my roommates if Tessa was okay, they would act like I was the crazy one. I tried to point out she hadn't changed out of her onesie and was told to quit being an asshole. She's sick. Let her be. At one point, I was staring at her from the sofa, trying to catch her blinking, and Morgan yelled at me and told me to stop being such a creep, that I was weirding Tessa out. They even put up a big cushion in front of her to block her from having to see me, which she clearly couldn't because she was by this point 3 days dead. I assumed once the rotting set in that they would notice, but they just pretended all the harder. And in fact, they even started staging her body. Like, I know it sounds really weird. I don't know why they did it or if it's some sick social experiment or what, but they moved her. I found her at the table one morning. She was slumped backwards over her chair, sightless eyes staring up at the ceiling. Everyone talked to her like she was alive. By this point, she also stank. I mean, to the point I even noticed Ravi and Evan kind of surreptitiously keeping their distance and breathing through their mouths, not their noses around her. I tried to talk about this to them later, but Ravi just wrinkled his nose at me and said, "Yeah, I know, it's gross, but she's super depressed. Morgan says she's never seen Tessa this bad before. She's mad upset about that cat. Just let her be. We gotta let her work through this. She'll come out of it. Until then, things like showering and getting out of bed are really hard for her." I almost told him, yes, those things would be hard for a dead person to do. But I didn't. Honestly, I didn't know how to respond. I finally managed to say, "Dude, I think she's rotting in that panda suit." He chuckled and shook his head and said, "Come on, don't be an asshole." I finally did what I should have done from the beginning and called the police. I said I wanted a wellness check on Tessa. My roommates tried to send them away, but I came downstairs and insisted and pointed to the corpse in the panda costume in the chair by the television. That chair was really gross by now, and the cops went over to examine her, and I really believed, really and truly, that we were all about to be arrested for having a dead girl rotting in our living room, congealing into that chair. But they pretended she was alive, the same as my roommates kept doing. She never spoke a word in answer to them, never moved. Later, Morgan took me aside and told me my actions were uncalled for, and that all I did was make things worse for Tessa. By this point, it had been almost a week since Tessa had died, and as you can imagine, her body had become severely decomposed. The smell was unbearable. I would wake up in the night, my eyes watering from the stench that permeated the entire house. I couldn't understand how the others were just going about their lives. Evan would sit next to her watching TV. Ravi would ask her questions while she sat there, a bloated, leaking corpse. I watched Morgan bring her food, setting it down in front of her. "Eat something, Tessa," she'd say. "You need to keep your strength up." The food would just sit there, untouched, until someone cleared it away hours later. I confronted my roommates again. We got into a huge fight. I told them that clearly the witch's hex had done something to Tessa, that it was blinding them, and we were all living with a dead girl. They looked shaken after I pointed out the smell. The way Tessa wasn't eating, was literally rotting. They told me they thought I was seeing things, but the entire house reeked of death. None of us could stand it. We could all smell it. That night, I heard Morgan and Ravi whisper about the smell in the kitchen. "It's getting worse," Ravi said. "I know," Morgan replied, "but we just can't." She trailed off when she saw me standing in the doorway, and she gave me a death glare that shut them both up. I tried to sleep that night, but I couldn't. I kept thinking about Tessa's body, about how it was filling our house with the stench of decay, about how no one would admit what was happening, about how we were all pretending that a corpse was still alive. So I finally decided to take action. I waited until everyone was asleep. Then I crept downstairs. Tessa's body was still in the chair by the TV. Her eyes were open, staring at nothing. Her skin had a greenish tinge now, and there were dark purplish patches on her face and neck. The panda onesie was stained with bodily fluids. I couldn't let this go on. I bundled up the corpse in the panda suit and carried it out to my car. It was heavy and awkward, and I was terrified that someone would see me, but the streets were empty. I drove out to Blackwood Forest, where there are these high bluffs overlooking the valley. I dragged Tessa's body through the trees, the smell of decay making me gag until I reached the edge of the cliff. I looked down at the ravine below, then back at the body in the panda suit. "I'm sorry," I whispered, though I wasn't sure why I was apologizing. Then I pushed her over the edge. I watched as she tumbled down the rocks, the white and black panda suit visible in the moonlight, until she disappeared into the darkness. The animals out there will pick her to pieces if she isn't already too rotted for them to eat. I came back home and also cleaned up around the house and put that disgusting chair out on the curb and finally went to bed. For the first time in a week, I slept without the smell of death in my nostrils. In the morning, I woke up to find Morgan having a panic attack. She was running from room to room, opening doors, calling Tessa's name. She demanded to know where Tessa was. I told her Tessa left, and Morgan accused me of lying. I shrugged and said maybe she finally decided to go to the hospital. Ravi seemed relieved, though. While Morgan went out in her car to go searching for Tessa, Ravi told me he could finally breathe again and that it really had smelled bad in here, and someone needed to do something. He said he hoped Tessa got the help she needed, but that this wasn't the right place for her, and she probably needed inpatient treatment. I refrained from telling him that I thought it was way too late for a hospital. For a few hours, I thought maybe things would get better. The house already smelled cleaner. Evan came down for breakfast and didn't mention Tessa at all. Ravi seemed happier, more relaxed. I started to think maybe we could all move past this, pretend it never happened. But then I noticed something strange about Evan. He was sitting on the sofa, playing video games with Ravi, but he wasn't actually playing. His eyes stared straight ahead of him. His hands didn't move. There was a first-person shooter on the screen, and Ravi kept telling Evan he needed to step up his game. But Evan was literally doing nothing, seeing nothing. I watched in horror as I realized what was happening. Evan was like Tessa was last Monday. Like the hex had hit him, and now he was dead, but nobody could see it. I don't know if I should wait for his body to rot or if I should just take him out to the bluff sooner. If this plays out the same way, Ravi won't stop pretending Evan is just fine. Morgan will come home and also believe that he's still alive. Even the police will believe it. Why am I the one the hex didn't hit? Why am I the only one who can see that they're dead? And if Evan is dead now, how long until Morgan and Ravi join him? How long until I'm the only one left alive in this house, surrounded by corpses that no one else can see are dead? I'm watching Evan now. His skin is already starting to take on that grayish tone. His eyes don't blink. His chest doesn't rise and fall. He's dead. I'm sure of it. I've been thinking about the old woman, the witch. Maybe I should go find her. Maybe she can reverse this. Or maybe she'll just hex me too, and I'll end up like Tessa and Evan. I think I heard Morgan's car pull up in the driveway. She's going to come inside and see Evan, and she won't understand. She'll think he's just sitting there playing video games with Ravi. She won't see that he's dead. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to make this stop. I don't know how to make anyone believe me. I just know that I'm running out of time.